Hi guys, it's Theresa here of Larkin Design. Welcome to the next layout in our Bermuda honeymoon album. And today I'm working with a collection from Paislee Press. It's a digital collection called Tour Guide. I have been serving as the guest designer on the Paislee Press design team for the month of May 2017. And so this is the final layout that I'm creating. And I have shared with you the previous video about how I planned this layout in Photoshop and then printed all the individual elements so that I can now put the layout together. This is a 9x12 layout, and this video is actually going to be in two segments. So there's going to be this layout, which will be on the left hand side in the album, and then there's also a pocket page which will be the right hand side. And so I will do that portion of the layout at the end of this video. I think it's about minute marker 7 or 7.5. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And what I'm doing right now is just trimming out all of the elements that I've printed out. I am using 13x19 matte photo paper. It's just Staples brand. It's a nice cardstock weight, and of course you can put it through your paper trimmer too. I like to use my metal ruler and my X-Acto knife for this portion for the larger cuts, just because it's smoother. And then here I'm going to just go ahead and grab my paper trimmer and do the smaller cuts that way. And I wanted to show you how I cut these apart, because this is part of the hybrid process for me and part of how I do it. I love creating layouts like this because I can plan them on the computer. And of course, there is tremendous value in starting with a pattern paper and building your layout from the ground up on your worktop, using all your pattern papers and your embellishments. And this is another way to plan and then create your layouts too. It's something that tends to work really well for me. Just simply because I can plan and I can rearrange things without having to cut them, and I like that flexibility. And I have to be honest and say that I do spend a lot of time on the computer. I spend a lot of time editing and writing and creating content on the computer, and I spend a lot of time rendering video and uploading. And while I'm waiting for those things to happen, I do a lot of that at night, but I also do a lot of that during the day. And while I'm waiting for videos to render and videos to upload, and let me tell you how much time that takes, even with super fast internet, even with an app to help make things a little bit faster, it still takes a lot of time. And so while I'm waiting, while I have downtime on the computer, I can plan these layouts like this and then get them done. And I think it would also be a lot of fun if you were going to a crop and you did like 10 of these layouts like this and slid the elements into your pockets, and then at your crop you could put together 5 or 10 of these layouts pretty quickly when they're already cut and they're already planned out and you already know what you're going to do. So this is just another way of doing it. I'm not telling you that this is the way that you have to do this. It's just a way that I've found that works for me and also helps me to use digital products more. And I just have to be honest and say that we need to support our digital designers. I'm not just saying that because I have designed digital products. I am saying that because they are part of our industry. And so we need to support our designers who are out there creating really beautiful products that are available for us to use. So my hope is that you will learn some tips and tricks in how to use digital products more in your own process. So what I have on this layout is the main photo is actually one of my very favorites from this whole trip. We were spending some time at the Royal Naval Dockyard in Bermuda. And so there's some sightseeing there, there's some shopping there, the cruise ships dock there. So a lot going on. And these little phone booths were just there in the middle of all these historic buildings, right? And they were just a fun contrast to me. It's a bright pop of color here. And so I knew that I wanted to enlarge this photo, and I knew that I wanted to do some really neutral elements and one pop of color. And so the pop of color is at the bottom with just one little tiny strip of pattern paper. Now the two pattern papers here are from the Memory Keepers collection from Paislee Press also, and everything will be linked below so that you can find these products for yourself. The tour guide collection consisted of word art, some journaling cards, and some templates. And so the next layout, I'll work with the templates from that collection as well. So the tourist card on the top and the field notes card that I journaled on are from the field notes collection, and then the wander word art is also from that collection. Now, there was a little technical error here in this photo because there's a trash can that hexagon that I just adhered down is covering a trash can. So yeah, I grabbed these hexagons. They're from Ellie's studio, and I'm just layering them over top of the photo itself. And when I printed the photo, I printed a sort of transparent, semi-opaque rectangle over top of that part of the photo as well. So I'm going to move on now to the right-hand side of this layout, and this is the beginning of the Scooter Chronicles. So when Alan and I went to Bermuda, we had talked about renting some scooters, and we weren't really sure if we were going to do it or not. And so we did it. And there's more to these stories. There's more coming to this. But the story for this layout is how we talked about the scooters. And I can't tell a lie. I was not thrilled about the idea of renting these scooters. I was terrified of them, right? And when we were like talking about doing it on the island, like people would tell us all these traumatic stories about things that happen to people when they rent these scooters, right? People that are acting crazy or not doing right or whatever. And Alan said, look, I know what I'm doing. I can drive this thing. We don't have anything to worry about. So we did. We drove that scooter for probably like 4 days around the island. And it really did give us a chance to see more of the island than we would have gotten to see. There's a funny thing in Bermuda. There are no rental cars in Bermuda. So you can't rent a car. So we wouldn't have gotten to see all the things that we did. So, but what happened was, while we were experiencing this, I would routinely refer to this scooter as the scooter of doom. And Alan would go behind me and he would say, oh no, it's a scooter of delight. And we still do this. Every time we see a scooter of doom. Oh no, it's a scooter of delight. And so that's what I'm writing here with the alphabet stickers. I'm writing, there's going to be a he said card and a she said card. And I've stamped the she said using my Gossamer Blue alphabet stamp that came with a new subscription last month. And then I'm using these alphabet stickers from Ellie's studio to spell out Scooter of Doom. These are great. These turn out so great. I'm so excited about this layout. Yeah, so that's just one of the things that we repeated quite often while we were on our trip, and I really liked how this card turned out. So for this card, I sort of wasn't sure how the letters were going to be spaced on the card, so I used my ruler. But for the he said card, I'm going to go ahead and put the stickers directly down onto the sheet. For the he said card, I'm going to use the Simple Stories alphabets in navy. And one of the things that made me really happy about this layout was the pops of color. Because the tour guide collection is very neutral. And then I brought in some of the colors from the Memory Keepers collection. That sort of brilliant blue, ultramarine blue in the center is the only pattern that's on this side of the layout. And of course I did gray on the opposite side and a little tiny pop of pink, red, and also this blue again. And so the alphabets will tie in those colors, and I'll add a couple more of tiny embellishments to bring in a little bit more color around the layout too. I didn't want too much color, but just a little tiny bit. So the alphabets are a perfect way to repeat the color element here. So I'm going to just write this out, Scooter of Delight. I love this so much. I will let you know nobody got hurt on the scooters. We did great on them. So, just to reassure you. Now, once I got these done, I went and shopped in my stash a little bit, okay, and I found I had some of these little chipboard phrases. The dark ones are from the Allie Edwards Drive kits, and then the white ones are from Freckled Fawn. And then I'm also using some rubber shapes. These stars are from Studio Calico. They're the January Documenter kit. And there's also a pink heart in the center now. That's a rubber embellishment piece from Amy Tangerine. And I'm just going to adhere those down. I also need to add a little bit of journaling. I'm going to do that with my typewriter. You could also, of course, add your journaling in Photoshop before you print your layout. I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope it's been helpful to you to see how I plan my layouts and then how I print these hybrid layouts out so that I can then embellish them in physical form. One of the things that I hear the most often when I talk about doing hybrid projects or digital projects, the first thing that someone always says is, I don't want to give up my physical embellishments. And I'm here to tell you, I don't want to give up my physical embellishments either. I love all my little stuff in my studio. I love these things. So I want you guys to see how you can use your digital products alongside your physical products. right? It's so much fun to print these out, layer them together, and then add your little rubber embellishments or your wood pieces or your acrylic, just anything that your imagination can think of, right? Let's don't limit ourselves. I don't function well in a limited environment, so there we go. I think that the layout is almost done. There are some puffy shapes. Those are from Gossamer Blue as well, from the Traveler's Notebook kit from May as well. So I'm going to wrap everything up. I'll show you some close-ups and I'll show you the layout in the album together side by side. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you will like and comment and subscribe, and I'll see you back here again soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.